In the shadowy depths of Auschwitz, a group of prisoners faced an unimaginable choice: comply with the Nazis' gruesome demands, or face a certain death. The witnesses of hell. The Sonderkommando were work units consisting of prisoners in death camps like Auschwitz and Treblinka. They were typically strong and healthy men whose main task was to aid in disposing of the remains of the victims in the gas chambers. This work was forced upon them. It was either this or death. Most Sonderkommando would be divided into groups, each with different tasks. Some greeted newcomers, reassuring them that they were going to shower before being assigned work and would soon be reunited with their families. Some would even spot family members in the crowd, but still had to lie to them. Once the SS carried out the gassing, another group would be tasked to untangle and remove the dead from the gas chambers to the crematoriums. Typically, there would be hundreds of victims at a time, intertwined with each other because they were so closely packed together and due to death convulsions or out of sheer panic to escape. At first, they would respectfully handle them, but as time went on, the overwhelming scale and the brutality of the task led many to become desensitized over time. Other teams would process the victims, having their heads shaved and extracting gold teeth and hidden valuables from them. The valuables were then given to the SS, while the bodies were sorted into two groups, children and adults. The victims were then taken up to the crematoriums, where the remains were either ground to dust or burned. One group would be tasked to burn the victims, where they would put two adult corpses and a child one on top and shove them into the ovens. The other group tasked to crush the bones would use a bone-crushing machine. Once there was a large amount of ash mounted, they would dispose of the ashes in the rivers. With a seamlessly endless amount of victims the Sonderkommando had to haul and search became so overwhelming and traumatizing, resulting in lots of physiological trauma and harm. The Sonderkommando had slightly better living conditions than the other prisoners of the camp: better mattresses, food, and living quarters. They were isolated from the rest of the camp and had barracks close to the crematoriums or right above the gas chambers. This was so they wouldn't tell anyone of the real horrors going on inside the chambers. However, these living conditions amounted to nothing compared to the mental cruelty they had to endure. After a while, to prevent the men from telling anyone, they would all be rounded up and executed every 2 to 3 months. On October 1944, a few Sonderkommando formed a resistance when a team in Birkenau learned the Germans were going to gas them. So on October 7th, 3 of the remaining Sonderkommando rebelled against the SS with makeshift weapons like stones, axes, hammers, other work tools, and even homemade grenades. They managed to destroy Crematorium 4 and even killed 3 SS guards. Another commando also revolted, but it ultimately ended up in a failure. No mass resistance was formed, and the Germans captured and killed the escapees. With the last batch of Sonderkommando, they were separated into 2, the fit and healthy, and the weak. The healthy were forced into another concentration camp by foot, where the individuals were left to die on the way, leading into the infamous Death March. The other group was to be gassed. A few prisoners were able to sneak into the other group, but were still in constant danger of being caught. Out of the 1,000 of Sonderkommando, only 100 survived. A few of these Sonderkommando also left notes and papers that gave remarkable insights and proofs of the genocide. The Sonderkommando lived in the absolute pits of hell in the camps. They faced horrific circumstances and dilemmas so hard to describe and really capture and understand. They truly had one of the hardest jobs in all of the camps.